Here, and Optima knows all the ins and outs of the IRS's tax assistance programs that could save you thousands. So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Good afternoon. You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KYY La Selva Beach, FM 1041, KSCO.com, ZBSradio.com, and we're streaming live right now on YouTube at the KSCO Global channel. That's www.youtube.com/C/KSCO Global. YouTube.com/C/KSCO Global. Check out the live stream. Quick look at your traffic conditions. Collision 1 northbound at Reservation in Monterey County reported at 348. Minor injuries. Looks like a couple of vehicles there in the center divider. Traffic hazard reported 1 southbound at 41st. Motorcycle almost hit wood. Debris in slow lane. Okay. Animal hazard 1 northbound at Fernwood in Monterey County. Injured deer on the right-hand shoulder. And a collision at 327. 152 at Bella Vista Lane. Nissan major front-end damage. Collision at 318 SoCal at Perimeter Road in Santa Cruz. A couple of vehicles involved there. No injuries reported. And a hit and run at 252 101 northbound at the Highway 25 connector. No injuries. 4:06, time for the Veterans Take Charge radio show with your host Justin Baker and Dave Ramos.
What actions do we embody? What versions of ourselves do we want the world to see? Military culture and influence can be a potent presence in how we navigate our lives and this environment. The actions that we take reverberate, causing acute ripples to gradually impact into chronic patterns of behavior. So what precedent do you set for those around you? And I'm just going to put this out here, and I'm going to ask this right quick. What constitutes a complete and total disgrace to our country? Keep that in mind, because that's coming up. My name is Dave Ramos, and I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Veterans Take Charge radio show.
Wait a minute.
Welcome to today's broadcast of Veterans Take Charge radio show. I am your host, Justin Baker, formerly of the 75th Infantry Regiment Ranger. Rangers lead the way. Welcome to today's show. I've got my battle buddy for life, U.S. Army's Western Region Best Medic 2008, Dave Doc Ramos.
Cool.
Real life lifesaver, 2-time Iraq combat veteran, and the proud co-host of Veterans Take Charge.
Very.
I'm going to do a brief after-action review of last week. We had our favorite World War II vet, JP, in studio with us. We had a great conversation with him. He stuck it out the entire 2 hours, which was awesome to get his insight, get the insight of the greatest generation. We're always happy to have veterans in studio with us. So if you want to get on with Veterans Take Charge, email dr@ksco.com. That's the only email I can remember right now.
How about Veterans Take Charge?
I love everyone to bombard Dave just because I know he's so busy. So I always give his email out.
Thanks.
dr@ksco.com. Email the heck out of him. If you guys want to come in studio, tell some more stories, feel free to get on air with us. So JP was with us. He always has good insight. He shared his experience with the Honor Flight program and bringing World War II vets to the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C., which is what Honor Flights does. If any of you World War II vets that are listening want to get on an Honor Flight, you can do so for free. All right, listen to last week's broadcast on zbsradio.com. Click on Veterans Take Charge. There's an archive with all of our show notes from every show we've ever done. Thanks, Doc Ramos, for keeping that up to date. And you can go ahead and read through the archive. Last week has all the information you need about Honor Flights and how you can get on board, get a free flight to Washington, D.C. And if you want to take your spouse, you got to buy your ticket. But everything else is paid for by Honor Flights. It's a great program. And you don't necessarily have to be a World War II vet to do it, right? They're taking everyone.
Yeah, they're focusing on World War II veterans right now, but as time goes on and as the World War II population kind of dwindles, they're going to start focusing on Korean veterans and then Vietnam veterans and then, working their way on up. Eventually, it's going to be us.
It's a great way to bond with other vets. You might find guys from your unit who you haven't seen in years. JP had some great stories to tell about it and how happy some of the guys were that they went. So anyway, take advantage of it if you want to get the free flight. The Honor Flight movie is coming up here in Santa Cruz. If you guys want to find out more about that, you can look it up on Google or you can listen to last week's broadcast. That is, let me see, taking place on November 8th.
Wednesday, 7 p.m., Del Mar Theater.
And Veterans Hospice Care, I guess, is helping to sponsor the event. JP always has great things to share and discuss, and we love having him in studio because he's so positive, he kind of got off on a little religious tangent, which we want our veterans to feel free to speak their mind when they're on the show with us. We got a couple complaints from a few people about the religious aspect of the conversation, but guess what? When you're on our show, we're going to let you speak your mind, all right? It's a free country with free speech, so feel free to come on and tell us what you think.
Hey, speaking of which, I invited Thomas Milserick to give us a call in about a half hour or so.
Oh, nice. That should be interesting. He's been attacking us lately on Facebook. I look forward to that call. Thomas has the right to free speech, too. So we talked church with JP. We talked generational differences, which we just had an interesting conversation here in studio with a few of our guests today about that exact issue. JP and we discussed the VA with JP, and it was an excellent time. If you guys want to check that broadcast out, zbsradio.com is where you can find it, and all of our other archives. Also, you can download it onto your smart device, take it to work with you, and listen from a remote location wherever the heck you are. Dave.
What up?
Are we going to hunt the good stuff?
Dude, I'm always hunting the good stuff.
Let's
Man,
do
my
it.
glass is half full. I'm definitely hunting the good stuff because there's a whole bunch of events coming up in the very near future. But we have some very strong, enthusiastic, and compassionate people here in studio. Paul Damon, thank you very much for being here. And Robin Goodwin,
Go Navy.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give you a high five right quick. Thank you very much. Robin, you are one of the co-leaders of Knitting Hands and Prayerful Hearts. Yes, sir. Oh, you got to turn your microphone on.
Yes, I am.
Go for it.
Thank you. And you have came to us today, and I'll let you tell us why.
Our group outreach, we were mailing out hats and knitted socks and helmet covers, etc., out of wool to our vets in Landstuhl, Germany, and our servicemen in Landstuhl, Germany. And we felt it would be good just to do it in-house this coming year. So I brought in a sack of 75 hand-knitted wool hats for all of you.
Show us those, Justin.
You can check them out on KSCO Global on YouTube right now. I'm holding it up for the camera so you can see her work, and it is quality. And she just donated a bunch of them. Yeah, and you said they take a couple hours a piece for you to knit, huh?
Yes, and this was done not just by me, but two other the knitters of Knitting Hands and Prayerful Hearts. It's a ministry out of St. Joseph's Catholic Church down in Capitola.
It's good stuff. I'm excited because you brought us a whole bag, and we were able to donate them to Paul and Holistic Vets, and hopefully they can hand them out to a bunch of veterans at their event on November 11th and help some veterans keep their heads warm this winter.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You realize I'm going to want a few of those too, right?
Right? I know. They feel really good, dude. You know how some of these hats make your head kind of itchy? These ones feel nice.
They're super soft and they're super nice. So thank you very much for what you do, for you continuing to do. You know, you had some really good stories about, you went to the 41st Avenue Veteran Center and you were donating hats, and you met a veteran there who had received one of your hats.
Yes, he was in Landstuhl, Germany at the hospital.
In Germany,
And
that's so
he
awesome.
recognized the little card that we had on the hat. So the world is a very small place.
Right? And your work is getting around.
Yes, it is. It is definitely getting around.
It's definitely serving its purpose.
Well, once again, I'm very appreciative. Thank you very much. We're going to make sure that these go to some very well-deserving heads.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we hope to continue to serve our community, especially our veterans, in this way.
How can people get a hold of you if they need?
They can contact St. Joseph's Catholic Church and just call the office and ask for, the knitting group, and we're there to serve.
How many of you are there?
At present time, there are about 30 of us.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's a good sized group.
A lot of us are old.
And I heard that you
Experienced.
you don't leave home without your knitting equipment.
No, it's better that I don't. That way my patience doesn't run out and I don't get volatile.
so when you start getting volatile, you immediately go to the knitting.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
It's best.
Yo,
Definitely
I
best.
smell some PTSD therapy.
I know. I might need to take up knitting. I think.
I'll teach you
Okay.
That's a
Class is
solid
available
muscle
upon request.
for free.
Nice.
This deal just gets better and better.
Right?
It really does. Oh, rock and roll. Well, again, I am very, very thankful, and we'll definitely make sure that these go to the right places.
Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, what's up, man? You gotta turn his mic on.
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm very appreciative as well. Yeah. Thanks for all the hard work.
It's a pleasure. It really is. It's an honor, actually. It's what it is.
It's our honor. You get to protect us as we protect you, so it's a pretty cool trade-off.
Okay. And again, thank you for your service.
I
Very
can totally dig that. And real quick, I also want to hunt the good stuff with your partner. Your
Partner,
heartfelt
that's kind of
partner.
cool.
My better half. Are you? That's what you're talking
Yes.
about. Okay.
He's a 26-year.
26-year-old veteran of Santa Cruz Police Department, Brad Goodwin, formerly Sergeant Brad Goodwin.
That's what's up, and that's this gentleman right back here. Proud
Thanks
and
for being with us,
steadfast, sir.
Sergeant.
Thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome.
I can totally dig that.
For it.
Well, today's broadcast, I have some very high hopes for today's broadcast for a whole bunch of different reasons. One of which is because we have a whole bunch of patriots in the studio, some badass veterans and whatnot. Paul, you've got a lot of really good stuff coming up. You've got Carrie, who is the owner of the facility where the healing project. I'm already losing my words.
Community Healing Project.
Community Healing
Yep,
Project.
this year it's being hosted at Breath and Oneness.
Breath and Oneness. Perfect. And that's what we're getting ready to start talking about in just a few minutes.
Very cool.
I'm going to hunt the good stuff a little bit more right quick since we got a few more minutes, and I've got a whole bunch of notes right over here. Justin had talked about the Honor Flights movie that's coming up on November the 7th, Wednesday at 7 p.m. As you were, the 8th at 7 p.m. over at the Del Mar Theater, the Honor Flights movie that JP was in studio talking to us about last week. Also, Veterans Awareness Week is coming up this week over at Cabrillo College. Every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the Veterans Office over there at Cabrillo, Veteran Information Center, is going to be having, on Monday, it's a pull-up contest that starts at, I believe, noon. Tuesday, there's going to be a display, like bring your memorabilia, have a display. It's going to be awesome. Wednesday is going to be a workshop for veterans and admin staff, and then Thursday is going to be their barbecue. And like, I'm totally biased, but their barbecue is rad. What's the best nation? What's the best nation in the country or in the world? Donation. And they donate a lot of food. Yeah. Let's see what else is coming up. On Thursday night, the United Veterans Council and Vets for Vets are getting together and having a pasta dinner over at the Veteran Memorial Building. There's going to be a raffle. Tickets, I think, are $25, and it's supposed to be very much worth it. Travis DeYoung is responsible for this, as well as a couple of other individuals. Vets for Vets, that organization is doing a lot of really good things still, and then some.
So the fundraiser supports the Vets for Vets program?
The Vets for Vets is sponsoring it, and I believe the United Veterans Council is also co-sponsoring it, but it's a veteran fundraiser for the United Veterans Council. And the UVC, Paul, you're probably pretty familiar with it.
Yeah.
It's the intention is, veterans representatives from every veteran organization in the Santa Cruz County get together as part of the United Veterans Council, and they're supposed to be, communicating and collaborating.
I wonder how many other areas in the country have a tight-knit veterans community like what we have here and what we have in Monterey.
I was talking to Brady Pasola this morning, and San Diego, as you know, Southern California's got a very thick veteran network.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how connected they are. I know things with Vet Together and Spec Hops Brewery and, Triple B Adventures and all the people that they know, Ted Nolte, Wayne Wilson.
We must have done, 10 or 15 nonprofit interviews with that group there in San Diego.
It's reaching about that much.
Yeah.
And the point being is that I would like to think that there are veteran pockets all over the country that are as tight and as well informed as I like to think we are. You know what I'm saying?
How the heck do we unite all of them into one massive network instead of a bunch of little pockets?
By social media.
That's what the veterans really need, is we need to plug in the entire network nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever resources, maybe there's extra of one resource here in Monterey County that we can spread out, across the country.
Yeah, I hear that.
To veterans in Georgia or Texas or whatever that are missing that resource that their vets need.
Speaking of veterans across the country, in Florida on Veterans Day, get a hold of Chris Green. He's a former company commander over here at the Presidio Monterey. Now he's a retired veteran over in Florida, and they are doing a roll for a reason. He's very thick into the he's a thick individual because he's been doing jiu-jitsu for so long. He's the dude who certified me to beat people up. Anyway, so he's doing some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and they are doing a fundraiser on Veterans Day over in Florida for Puerto Rico.
Oh, sweet.
Roll for a reason. That's not what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it.
You know about Veterans Respond?
Do they have any association with Team Rubicon?
Not yet, I don't think.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if they end up joining on Rubicon, though. But there's 4 or 5 of them in Puerto Rico right now, and they're all self-funded.
I heard about them. I
Yeah.
do know who you're talking about. Well, loosely.
We shared some snow and Standing Rock together, and they started putting their...
That's exactly how I found out about them.
Yeah, they're doing some good work.
Nice.
Redbeard's a real nice guy and highly skilled in all of his operations. It's like soldier craft at its finest. We were able to tap into the police radios and listen to what they were doing, so it helped out a lot.
The military culture and the military experience influences who we are and what we do. And that right there is a beautiful thing.
Soldier craft.
I like that. Yo, this is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We're getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And with that being said, we will be right back.
Hi, it's Peter Gelblum from Mountain Community Theater. On November 8th, one night only, at 7 p.m., there will be a free performance at Loudon Nelson Community Center in Santa Cruz as the local entry in an international climate change theater action. We'll have short plays, live music, film, and speakers all about climate change with some of your favorite Santa Cruz performers, including stand-up comedy from Richard Stockton. Doors open at 6:30, first come, first seated until the house is full. That's November 8th at 7 p.m. at Loudon Nelson, and it's all free.
Weekdays on MeTV.
You know where you are?
Hit the trail on the Big Valley.
Get on your horse and ride out.
Then ride out with Marshall Dillon.
I'm headed for Dodge if you want to ride along.
In Gunsmoke. Later, spend some time on the Ponderosa with Bonanza.
Sound like a rifle shot.
And head over to North Fork with Lucas McCain, the rifleman.
Now you watch this and you mark it well.
MeTV is only on KYMB Channel 27.1 and Comcast Cable Channel 19.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report, and every week our producers, engineers, and staff work hard to bring you the finest coverage radio has to offer. From former presidents to current CEOs, governors, and worldwide experts, we go to the top to cover the stories you want to hear. And we're able to do this thanks to listeners who love to sink their teeth into a great book like On the Verge, which just hit the top of Amazon's new release list. Every day, our knowledge about the future grows more and more certain, which is why I'm certain you'll find On the Verge entertaining and informative. So if you haven't grabbed a copy yet, pick up your copy of On the Verge. 100% of the proceeds from the sale of On the Verge goes toward producing the Costa Report. So if you haven't picked up your copy yet, please Take a moment to visit Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your local bookstore and pick up your copy of On the Verge. We thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Alex Darnell. I'm here Mondays 2 to 4, AM 1080 KSCO, a talk show host that's liberal but has common sense and understands what's going on in the world and is not afraid to say it like it is. No spin. Talk about a no spin zone. This is a no spin zone. I do not say what I think is going to be popular. I don't say things that I think are going to rile people up. I just say things that I believe. I'm here Mondays 2 to 4 on your favorite radio station, AM 1080 KSCO.
Welcome back to Veterans Take Charge. The Veterans Take Charge Army is growing. Every broadcast, more and more patriots surround us.
Heck yeah!
It makes me really proud, dude. The kind of people that we get into studio with us.
Dude, right?
Good Americans, you know, that stand in solidarity with the veterans and stand in solidarity with Americans and America and the Constitution and the rights of everyone. And we believe in each other, and we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna stop the 22 veteran suicides a day.
Damn straight.
We're gonna do that, and we're gonna make the VA accountable, and we're gonna get the veterans the benefits that they are entitled to, that they have fought and earned.
Take charge now.
Take charge now. Lead the way, battle buddy.
Oh man. So I want to get political. Nah, not political. I want to get like news commentary real, because there's some stuff that happened recently, and there's a handful of people that are up in arms.
I'm up in arms. I'm one of those people.
And
what the heck is going on here?
There's a precedent that has been set with a sentence, a specific sentence of one Sergeant, now Private Bo Bergdahl. But, do you guys want to talk about that now, or do you guys want to talk about that later?
Might as well get into it.
Yeah.
I figure
right
yes.
now. It's already here.
I figure the second hour we could talk about what you guys have going on, your event, coming up on Veterans Day, which is this coming Saturday. I also noticed that you brought your guitar, Paul.
He did.
Are you going to jam for us?
I think you should.
Awesome.
Okay.
We're going to have a jam session.
Yes. Don't act like you didn't bring that on purpose.
I brought it so nobody would steal it out of the car.
But you're a Grammy nominee, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a Grammy-nominated veteran here in studio with us, and he's going to jam out.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. Yes.
Thanks for asking, fellas.
This is why. This makes me happy. And I haven't given you guys high fives yet. That's going to happen. Hey, so let's talk about
probably
Bo Bergdahl.
more than once.
Let's talk about Bo Bergdahl. He's been charged with two specific things. One being desertion. He's deserted his post in Afghanistan in June 2009, which is in itself ridiculous. But he's also being charged with, or he has also been charged with, misbehavior before the enemy. Now, this is something interesting that I have to give him credit for. This is something that I respect. He didn't make any plea bargains. He didn't try to cut any deals. He straight up said, I'm guilty. I know that I'm guilty.
Off with his head.
And he is accepting the consequences and accepting the responsibility of his actions. Or at least that's the way that I like to think about it, right?
Well, in that case, maybe we should let him off.
Now, with that being said, what was his sentence? What did Colonel Nance sentence him to?
Here, put your hand out and I'll show you. A little slap on the wrist.
Watch this, everybody on Facebook. That's
it was about that hard, right? He deserted his post in a war zone. What? Left his weapon sitting there.
Man.
What?
So, real quick, with that being said, let's go into history. In 1944, Eddie Slavic, a World War II Army deserter, was the first and the last person executed for desertion since the Civil War. Desertion has received the consequence of execution in the past. All right. In 1955, in 1961, John Bennett, who was also a military veteran, was the last person executed by the U.S. military. And this was in 1961 for raping and murdering an 11-year-old Austrian girl back in 1955.
How many military members are in prison right now because they took home a thumb drive with a classified email on it?
Man.
I mean, I don't see how we can punish them harder than the deserter. You know?
Man, I just read about this dude who, as a former military person, was working in a medical facility, in a hospital, and he lit his active duty supervisor on fire. And I think he ended up getting like 30 years in prison, something like that. Anyway,
That's a high-stress environment.
It is a high-stress environment. Could you also argue that being in war is a high-stress environment?
For sure. I've been there once or twice. It's a little heavy.
So anyway, the sentence that was handed down to Bo Bergdahl essentially was, it was that slap on the wrist. He didn't get any jail time. He has been demoted from sergeant to private, which some could argue he shouldn't have been a sergeant in the first place.
No.
He was given no jail time, dishonorable discharge, and $1,000 forfeiture of pay for 10 months, which essentially it's like a $10,000 penalty. So he deserts his post. He gets picked up by the Taliban. He's a prisoner of war for 5 years and then traded for 5 Taliban operatives. And he
basically got time served.
Sentence.
It's the equivalent of time served. And yet weren't troops killed to go in there and get him out?
So interesting story. The defense had said that nobody was killed in direct support of trying to find Bo Bergdahl. Now, people were on mission for years afterwards, after he'd already gotten picked up. And while they were on mission, they were like, we're going to go on and secure Objective A. And while we're doing that, we're also going to keep an eye out for Bo Bergdahl. And so while they were on mission for Objective A, some people may have lost their lives. So it was argued that that wasn't loss of life because of Bo Bergdahl. Now, again, with that being said, there were some specific individuals like, doggone it, where did I write this down? Specifically, Sergeant First Class Mark Allen, who was shot in the head, had to have like part of his brain removed.
Mm-hmm.
He can barely blink. That happened in direct support of trying to find Bo Bergdahl.
Yeah, his wife, I believe I saw something that his wife said on social media where she was saying this happened to him to save this guy who was a deserter.
Navy SEAL Jimmy Hatch shattered his femur from a gunshot wound, 18 surgeries, ended his Special Forces career. That's in direct result from Bo Bergdahl. So now, again, he's up there, and while he's being sentenced, and he's saying, I apologize. I realize that my actions had grave impact. I'm sorry.
Grave impact for others.
Yeah.
Not like the only one that should have seen the grave over this didn't, and good American troops did.
So, I'm going to open this up to the broad audience. These 3 individuals in studio with me, as well as all of America. 831-479-1080 is a number to call. Does this sentence equate, or does this sentence match the perpetration?
Weigh in on the topic. 831-479-1080 is the live call-in number.
How do you demonstrate accountability for something like this? In my mind, he tried to demonstrate accountability by saying, hey, I'm sorry. I realized that I did wrong.
Well, I feel like he should really, really, really be sorry, and 5 or 10 years in an American penitentiary would definitely get that result.
Do you think that would even bother him?
Probably not. Coming after 5 years out of a hole in the ground.
Yeah, he spent 5 years in a freaking 7x7 cage.
Yeah.
I think
if he come here and get air conditioned heat, 3 squares a day.
3 hot in a cot, man.
Yeah.
What is Leavenworth? He would end up at Leavenworth, right?
I guess.
I'm not sure if that's as bad as like the maximum security prisons that we have in this country.
Donald Trump would throw him in Gitmo.
I know. I'm surprised. I mean, I don't know who came up with this decision, but is this some kind of a weird precedent that's being set to weaken the military or to make it so that deserters get lesser sentences? I mean, it seems to me that there are some things going on within the military right now that are not creating more strength. They're creating more division. They're creating a softer military. And maybe in some ways that is a good thing in the long term, but I don't think it is in this case. I mean, we have watchdogs like Snowden, which, you know, I listened to a CIA operative in a YouTube video where he was doing a public speaking event, and he actually said that Snowden should be considered a hero because the information that he leaked, you know, it is about the government compromising our privacy, right? And so I take the CIA and the FBI guys' words for it when they say, you know, Snowden, while he was a whistleblower and he violated certain laws in that respect, he was doing it for the sake of Americans and their privacy.
See,
there is none of that with this Bo Bergdahl thing.
Well, with that being said, though, the original reason why he left in the first place was to raise issue and to raise awareness to something that he perceived was putting his life as well as his battle buddies' lives in danger. So this is a thought that I had in the back of my mind. What happened to that situation?
It makes no sense, though. I mean, his action put people's lives in danger, and lives were lost possibly because of it.
Right.
So, I mean, does it make any sense to, like, stand up against or stand up for, you know, your battle buddies' lives being lost, but in the process, you actually endanger their lives?
I'm going to push out a metaphor. Like, does it make sense to sink the boat just to get the captain?
Yeah, exactly. No. Well, you were a Navy guy. What do you think, Paul?
My skipper was cool.
I really want to know what happened to the situation with that he originally did this for. You know, when he left post intentionally. He wanted to make like a 29-mile trek to raise awareness to the situation where his chain of command was putting people in danger.
Why was it 29 miles?
It was just
why not like half a click and just sit down?
That's a pretty good point. That's a pretty good question.
He made it about 3 clicks and got picked up. So, and then he didn't walk anywhere for the next 5 years.
And again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate on his behalf. You know, because when they did pick him up, the first thing he did was like, I have information. I'm going to let you guys know a little bit of everything.
I mean, obviously there's details to this case that maybe we're missing or we haven't been put out. We haven't heard. I don't know.
Sure, there's.
I try and put myself in his shoes. Yeah. What's the truth? We'll probably never know because, you know, the government keeps secrets from us, so that we can't really know the whole truth of anything. Yeah, right. But man, he broke the law.
He did. He put people's lives in danger. He straight up did. He broke the law. He deserted his post. And like, again, going AWOL and desertion, they are two different things. They're the same crime with different impacts because one, you do it, you go AWOL in garrison environment. You desert in a war zone, like that brings up so many more problems because of the fact that it's a war zone.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I mean, think about it. If you're Taliban and you pick up a live American soldier as a POW, as your POW?
That's actually a good example. Didn't President Obama trade 5 Al-Qaeda guys?
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5.
5 Al-Qaeda guys were given back to enemy forces in exchange for Bergdahl.
What if?
What's Bergdahl's MOS?
He was infantry, I think. I don't think he had anything specific or special. Oh, hey, what's up, sir? What if? And I'm just throwing this out there. What if those 5 Taliban operatives were like cut open and put C4 up inside their abdominal cavity and maybe some trackers up in there?
Right? RFID chips?
And of course, I mean, they don't know anything about this.
That would have been genius.
Wake up with a bellyache.
Like, I got this weird growth. I got knocked out and I woke up and there was this weird growth in my abdomen.
Do you guys hear
It's been
beeping? Anyway. So I really want to know, what do you guys think about this sentence? And I'm asking this to the general public as well. You know, because there are some people that think Bo Bergdahl should spend the rest of his life in prison. There are some people that think that Bo Bergdahl should spend, you know, the rest of his life waiting for a death sentence. You know, if it was up to our president, he says what? The reason why I asked, what constitutes a total and complete disgrace to our country? In my mind, I'm thinking things like, you know, I had some input from my significant other. Systemic racism. You know, wiping out an entire race of people when we first got here in the 1600s, you know, things like that. But no, apparently slapping somebody on the wrist is a total and utter disgrace to our country and to our military, as per our president.
I mean, look at how Bradley Manning was treated, you know, like supposedly he was in solitary confinement with the lights on for years, for what, 6 years or 7 years or something like that. They didn't turn the lights off in his cell. I mean,
that'll mess your brain up.
And that was all like CIA mind melting tactics, you know, psychological manipulation. I mean, he literally came out a different sex. Like,
I don't think it was because of that.
Did he go in that mindset, or is that due to the psychological stress that was created? You know, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what needs to happen to Bergdahl. I'm all for the Constitution, so I'm not saying that his constitutional rights should be taken, but he just put the country in a really bad situation by doing it the way he did it. And, you know, he should have finished his tour. He should have finished his term in the military. And if he didn't like the way that things turned out, he should have gone and got himself a radio show at his local radio station, which is what we did. You know what I mean? We didn't abandon our post. We finished our deployments. We served with honor. And, you know, I got my good conduct medal taken for an alcohol-related issue when I was in service. And I was lucky in the Ranger Regiment in Spec Ops. If you get an alcohol-related any type of trouble with alcohol,
it's like zero
they take your security clearance, they kick your butt out, and they're looking for the nastiest duty station in the military to send you to for the rest of your term, you know. And
Specialist Baker, we're gonna send you to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah, and I got really lucky. I had served, I had done combat deployments, I had taken direct and indirect enemy fire. My chain of command liked me. I worked hard. I did some cool stuff, and so, you know, they were like, "Look, this is the least you're gonna get." But I got to be honest, like, Bergdahl. He barely got punished any worse than I did, I think. And I just got a alcohol-related arrest. It wasn't even that bad, you know?
Yeah. You know, you mentioned something, taking away his constitutional rights. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but once we join the military, once we raise our right hand and swear, we pretty much give up all of our human rights, and now we are subject to a uniform code of military justice. So there's that. Take that for whatever it's worth.
Yeah. I just don't understand. It seems like an awfully light sentence for the severity of what he chose to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's a man, and he needs to pay for the bad decisions that he's made. And I don't, maybe 5 years in a Taliban jail cell was that bad.
Well, it's 5 years, and then whatever he deals with after that too, for probably the rest of his days.
True.
That's what I was going to get at. That's
True.
exactly what I was going to get
He's
at.
already got a life sentence as far as I'm concerned.
You know, but at the same time, we've got a vet that had a bullet in his head and lost part of his brain, and now his wife has to take care of him every day because of this guy's decision to some extent, you know. And I saw their pictures on social media, you know. Really beautiful lady, and her husband, you know, you could tell he's a good-looking guy, but he's got massive brain trauma. He's done, you know. It's not the man she married, and, you know, she's trying to be a good wife to the guy, and she has to deal with that forever. It's tough.
Yeah, it darn sure is.
We got a couple calls.
831-479-1080 is the number to call. We do have a couple of phone calls. We're getting ready to go to a commercial break, though, so I want to take Gordy as soon as we get back from the commercial break. Gordy, I see you're here, and we'll definitely get a hold of you. And we got another caller on the line. We'll get a hold of them after Gordy. And there was something I was going to push out just before we go to the break regarding Bo Bergdahl and Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning. Oh, it was about his job. So, yeah, he does have a dishonorable discharge, which is going to follow him and restrict him from a tremendous amount of opportunity and benefits that now he pretty much forfeited. But apparently there's an animal sanctuary that Bo Bergdahl might end up working at, and somebody in the military wants to work with him to hone and establish a survival manual. Think about that.
He didn't do very well.
He got picked up pretty quick.
How to survive in an Afghan prison.
You're going to last about 15 minutes. Anyway. This is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years, and what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. High blood pressure or hypertension represents the body's attempts to get us out of a jam. To the body, emergencies represent the need to get away from a situation by moving the body, i.e. running, which requires the rerouting of blood and its associated oxygen and nutrients from the extremities to the muscles by closing down the circulatory system at the extremities, creating the phenomena called hypertension. The shunting and redirecting of blood flow is a function that is energized by the sympathetic nervous system that also activates the biology that causes constipation and other digestive issues, skin and immune diseases, infertility, anxiety, insomnia, rapid pulse, and blood clotting, all associated with what has been called the fight or flight. One of the most significant body emergencies is suffocation, and nothing will activate the fight or flight response faster than oxygen deprivation. If you're one of the nearly 100 million Americans dealing with hypertension, you can flood your body with oxygen by practicing deep, slow breathing and quickly enjoy the powerful blood pressure lowering effects of respiration in just a couple of minutes. Get a blood pressure cuff and take a baseline reading. Then spend 120 seconds or so slowly inhaling and exhaling deeply into the belly. Then do another reading. You'll notice an immediate drop in blood pressure and over time, an equally significant reduction in all the other symptoms of an activated stress nervous system. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to KSCOhealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at KSCOhealth.com. That's KSCOhealth.com. I'm the pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to KSCOhealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at KSCOhealth.com. That's KSCOhealth.com.
Welcome back to Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We're currently talking about the Bo Bergdahl issue. I don't know how many of you have been listening to the different radio shows this week. Everyone has an opinion on the matter. We are not 100% sure what our opinion is. We're always open to new evidence and new information. We're going to go ahead and take a call from Gordy in Deer Creek. Gordy, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great today. Oh, boy, you're over-modulated. You're about burning my ear out.
Sorry about that. Let me turn it down a bit here.
Yeah, 10-4. That's good.
I don't even know what
Go
that
ahead.
word means.
All right. Yeah. We have what we call the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and this is not very uniform. Case in point, back when I was in, I was 4-0, okay? I had 3 letters of commendation by the time I got on the ship. I was honor man of my class. Did a lot of, extra things to help out the Navy. My last day on the island, I was coming back, and I was celebrating there in Honolulu. I walked out of a bar. I threw my hat up in the air. I was happy. I was done with it. Okay, I was coming home. I was immediately arrested by the HAFS, that's the Hawaiian Armed Services Police. They threw me in the brig. I went to a summary court-martial where I was busted and ranked back down to
For
fire.
throwing your hat?
For throwing my hat up in the air. They claim I threw it 200 feet in the air. I
You got a good arm.
This is in the record. You try throwing a Dixie Cup hat 200 feet in the air, and I'll bow down to you. But that's what they claim. That but anyway, it was a real sham. I got 5 months hard labor. Part of that time was when I got back. I had to serve 2 weeks hard labor at Camp Pendleton, and that's not fun. Okay.
Wait a minute. All of this stuff is because you threw your hat in the air?
Absolutely.
I didn't even realize there was a law against how high you could throw your hat.
This take place? This took place in Hawaii?
Yes, it took place in Hawaii. The charge was conduct unbecoming for the Navy.
Dude, they were trying to fill quotas or something.
That was the charge.
Because the first thing that popped into my mind was that kid in Singapore who's like chewing bubble gum and he got caned.
Yeah.
Chewing bubble gum or some crap like that.
and forfeiture of pay for 6 months.
Golly.
Okay. I had a friend who was a legal yeoman, and he was helping me out behind my back for the most part. But he would quietly come up to report to me. As soon as we got a new legal officer on ship, he went to him with a packet. The captain received a letter of reprimand. The XO got sent off to Guam, and I was never reinstated because this had not gone to Bureau of Ships, which all these, summary court marshals and above need to go to Bureau of Ships before the punishment can be adjudicated. Well, they just ran me right into punishment, restriction, hard labor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They just blew that off the whole thing. And, the last, 9 months, I guess, that I was in, I was walking on eggshells because they knew at any moment they're going to try to do something else to me to get me to do something more unbecoming, so that I would not get out with an honorable discharge. But I stuck with it. I did the punishment, and I got out with an honorable discharge in spite of the fact that it gave me 0 quarterly marks for last year that I was in. So when I look at this Bo dude, I don't see uniformity there at all in the code.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. So the definition for AWOL is 3 days or less missing. When you're gone for more than 3 days, then it's desertion. And I think that's still the same standard now. So, whatever his excuses were for being gone, it was not AWOL, it was desertion. Because he was certainly gone more than 3 days. He had no intention of coming back.
Yeah,
that's the big difference. When you're gone for 3 days, you're gone for good. So anyway, those are just a few things. I had something unrelated. I wanted to know what's going on for Veterans Day, coming up.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about in the second hour.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm done. I just wanted to point out that the uniform code is not uniform.
Roger that, Gordy.
Gordy, we got solid information for something you can do for Veterans Day. Our guest Paul is going to tell you a little bit about it in hour 2.
Keep on listening.
I'll be listening.
It's going to be an awesome event. Also, the Veterans Take Charge radio team is going to be at the Veterans Day Parade in Salinas, hopefully holding the big banner. Any of you guys that want to join us are more than welcome to walk with us in the parade if you'd like.
Okay, nothing going on in Santa Cruz, huh?
No, there is an event in Capitola. We're gonna talk about that in hour 2.
Okay, great. All right, 10-4. I'm gonna leave my post now.
Thanks, Gordy.
Rock and roll, Gordy. Proud to stay fast.
So Gordy said he said he lost his pay for 6 months. Bo Bergdahl lost $1,000 a month for 10 months. He didn't lose all of his pay at any point.
Kowalski also said that he might be getting a boatload of back pay. Imagine 5 years of back pay, especially if they retroactively promoted him to a sergeant.
So this guy is a deserter, and he didn't even lose a solid month's pay. I mean, he lost a portion of his pay for a 10-month period. And Gordy threw his hat 200 feet into the air and lost 6 months worth of his entire pay.
So now, for what it's worth, the sentence obviously does not fit the crime, right? But again, I'm gonna try and advocate on his behalf. Maybe the judge was taking into consideration all of the specifics about Bo Bergdahl. Take that for what it's worth. Let's go on to the next phone call.
Gary in Santa Cruz. Gary.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good, Gary. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when I found out what the judge did with Bo,
did you flip your tables?
I was incensed. That judge should be removed, in my opinion. I'm serious. I think Trump ought to remove him, and I didn't vote for him, by the way. But the fact is that 6 people dead. I don't care if he served 5 years in captivity. That's his fault. And basically, I think what we have is an infiltration in the military in these judges, or at least some of them, who that decision is just unbelievable to me. I was so frickin' mad.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't serve like you guys did. I was in the National Guard from 1970 to 1976.
One team, one fight, brother.
Well, I never left the country. But the fact is that, since then I've grown up a lot, and that decision I was so pissed.
One of our veteran brothers over in where's Malachi at? Is he in Tennessee?
I thought he was in the Midwest somewhere.
Maybe Ohio. Anyway, well, Malachi's Gaskin is he's doing a whole heck of a lot of things.
Minnesota.
Anyway, he was calling this is something worth protesting about. This is something worth jumping in the streets and getting your signs and protesting about. This is something that he felt very passionate towards, in the sense that justice was not served. Justice was not served towards any of the widows. Justice was not served towards any of the veterans who, or the service members who had ended up with physical, mental, behavioral, emotional scars or anything like that, you know?
I think those people that you just listed should be allowed in the courtroom for sentencing, and they should be asked what they feel is an appropriate sentence. And obviously the judge needs to then do his job and say, well, we can't do this, but we can do that based on what you guys are saying, the laws that were broken, and my job as the judge, knowing the law like I do, and this is the maximum, you know? And I'm not trying to throw Bergdahl under the bus, but the fact is, you know, he made a huge mistake. It was a lapse in judgment, and it cost lives. And the people who lost people because of him, I feel like their opinion should be taken to heart by the judge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this, Gary. What is the agenda? What's the real agenda? Why did this happen? And what are they really trying to do here by letting this guy off so easy in this case? I mean, I would say this is the most severe case of desertion that we've heard of during these conflicts.
Well, I think Judge Nance is basically an infiltrator in the military. I truly do. I think he's an infiltrator. He is not. As far as I'm concerned, Bergdahl should get the firing squad. And I know it hasn't been used in years, but for what he has done and caused, I don't care about his 5 years in captivity. That's all on him.
I mean, if you take away the face and the name of Bo Bergdahl, I mean, if you look at the black and the white of the law, you know, there are some inequities.
I tend to agree with you on how severe the punishment should be in this situation. We can either set a weak precedent or we can set a really strong one. And I think that by him being punished to the maximum, it would let all the other soldiers know that if they think that they're going to desert in the war zone, it's not a good idea. They're better off dying in battle than they are being sent home to die in front of the firing squad. You know, they can die on the battlefield, get some medals, maybe get a posthumous promotion, which is not uncommon in Spec Ops type work, and, you know, set their widows up a little bit better than they would if they ended up deserting, coming home, and being executed by firing squad. Either way, though, I think it's definitely weakening our military to let this kind of stuff go unpunished. And I don't think the 5 years that he spent in the Afghani jail cell or whatever, I don't think that should count as time served, right? He served no time here.
Yeah, that's on him. That's on him. The only reason does anybody know positively that he did serve that? I mean, is that a positive thing? Did he really? Or is that something that, I mean, I question everything now.
Right? Yeah. Me too. And the punishment that he was given actually proves why everyone in America needs to open their eyes and ears and start paying attention to what's really going on, because I think there's some corruption taking place in this situation.
Let me ask this real quick. What would be the point of weakening the Uniform Code of Military Justice? What would be the point of undermining the legal code?
Well, you know, you got to weaken the military to collapse this country from the inside out. And if you look at our politicians right now and how many of them are conspiring against the Constitution and conspiring against the American people, and I mean, there's just every different administration within the country, I mean, has corruption going on. It's insane right now. We're definitely in less jeopardy from the people we're fighting in the global war on terror, in my opinion. Any of you colonels out there listening could call in and explain why I'm wrong if you'd like. 831-479-1080. I think enemies that are domestic are what we're really in jeopardy from today.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
I hear that. Yeah.
Did you have anything else, Gary?
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Rock and roll, Gary. Proud and steadfast.
If anyone else wants to call in, put their 2 cents. 831-479-1080 is the live call-in number.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that Thomas Milserick hasn't called in. Maybe he stopped listening to us. That's unfortunate. Because I specifically mentioned Bo Bergdahl and Bradley Manning.
Yeah.
Or, as you were, Chelsea Manning. and was very interested. I am interested to get his take. I know that Thomas Milstrick has a very interesting and unique perspective on this country, the military, the influence that the military in this country have, and I want to hear it.
And he's a patriot, and he fights for what he believes in, so you got to respect that at the very least.
Oh, I really hope
Even
this
though I
is
really
him
don't
calling
like
right
it when
now.
he attacks you on Facebook, man. Don't like it. But, you know, sometimes he makes really good points. I got to give him that.
Yeah. Well,
He's
we got
been
a couple of
guest
phone
on the
calls.
show in studio before, so
A couple of phone
we
calls
got
are
two
coming
calls
in right
coming
now.
up. We only got about a minute.
So let's hold those phone calls for the second hour.
We got Thomas on the line. Thomas, we're going to pick you up
perfect.
at the top of the next hour in just a minute. We're about to go to break here in a second.
Paul, Carrie, haven't forgot about you guys. You haven't said very much.
Just taking it all in.
We're getting all heated right now, and so we're going to bring it back down to earth with you guys in hour 2. We're going to do some healing
We're gonna
since
need
we're all
that,
fired up.
Feel my blood pressure already starting to raise and go through the roof. So real quick, Veterans Day, we've got the Community Healing Project that's going to be happening in Capitola. We're going to get some information on that in the second hour from Paul and Carrie. There's also the Veterans Day Parade, which Justin had just mentioned. We're trying to get down to the Veterans Day Parade with Tony Verretta and Jimmy Panetta and a whole bunch of awesome people. We're going to be down there walking around in the parade, and if you want to be a part, we want as many people walking with us as possible. So hit us up, Veterans Take Charge at KSCO.com. And there is
that the
another
Gilroy
thing.
Parade?
Salinas.
I wanted to put out too. I'm gonna start putting together a Ranger breakfast. So any of you who served in the Ranger Regiment or the 4th, 5th, or 6th Ranger Training Brigade, if you guys want to have a Ranger gathering and eat, I'm gonna start putting the event together. Email me, Justin at KSCO.com. Let's get a bunch of Rangers together for a little Ranger reunion.
Hey, if I pull medical coverage, do I get a free meal?
Absolutely.
I just gotta make sure nobody chokes.
Everybody in studio can have free food.
This is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We'll be right back.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
CBS News. I'm Dave Barrett.
It's a sad deal. It's a really sad deal, man.
In the unincorporated Texas town of Sutherland Springs, gunfire this morning at a church. Then,
Fire trucks, ambulances everywhere. More ambulances kept coming.
in what is Texas's worst shooting incident in state history, 26 people are dead, 20 others wounded. Wilson County Sheriff Joe Tackett.
We all in here know what happened today, and it's something we all say does not happen in small communities. Well, we found out today it does.
The suspect, Devin Kelly, was spotted at a gas station, says Freeman Martin with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
He was dressed in all black. That suspect crossed the street to the church, exited his vehicle, and began firing at the church.
After the rampage at the First Baptist Church, the suspect took off. Police gave chase.
Right at the Wilson, Guadalupe County line, he ran off the roadway and crashed out and was found deceased in his vehicle. At this time, we don't know if it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound or if he was shot by our local resident.
CBS security analyst Paul Violas.
What it says really on the outside of this is basically he didn't intend on getting caught, which is why he fled. Obviously, there was at least one eyewitness that provided information to police in order to create a pursuit.
Suspect Devin Kelly was 26, had been dishonorably discharged from the Air Force after a court-martial in 2014. Overseas, President Trump in Japan has been kept informed about the Texas shootings. Details now from White House correspondent Stephen Portnoy, who joins us live.
Well, the president got word of the shooting in the early Monday morning hours here in Tokyo, and just moments ago, he called it an act of evil. He vowed in its wake Americans will pool together.
We join hands, we lock arms, and through the tears and through the sadness, we stand strong, oh so strong.
The president made those remarks before a group of CEOs pushing U.S. trade here in the Asia-Pacific. He said his Japanese hosts aren't engaging in free reciprocal trade with the U.S., and he called on Japanese automakers to make more of their cars in America. Dave?
Stateside, she had been interim head of the Democratic National Committee. Donna Brazile, coming out with a memoir, says the Clinton campaign exerted undue influence over the DNC. Brazile claims if Hillary Clinton had become incapacitated, a plan B would kick in with a ticket of Joe Biden paired with New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. On NBC's Meet the Press, former DNC chairman Tom Perez says it's not true. And
frankly, what saddens me about this as much as anything is I think people who read that charge, which is just without merit, are going to perhaps start wondering about other claims in the book.
New York City Marathon held on a gray day. Shalane Flanagan of the U.S., the first American woman to win it in 40 years. This is CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP, spelled B-O-L-L, and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Last year, the #1 name for girls in the U.S. was Emma. For boys, Noah. But did you know that in Uganda, a baby born with a cleft palate or lip is given the name which means cursed by God? Those children are destined to grow up in isolation. Smile Train empowers local doctors to do a simple surgery to correct untreated clefts for as little as $250, and it's 100% free for the child's family. To learn more, visit smiletrain.org. That's smiletrain.org.
Good afternoon. You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. KYY La Selva Beach. KSCO.com, 1340comey.com. We're also on FM 95.7 in Salinas, Watsonville, 107.9 in San Jose, and 104.1 FM right here in Santa Cruz. Let's get a quick look at your traffic conditions. Roadway's actually looking good out there. 117. All clear in both directions. 101 heavy northbound through Morgan Hill. 30 miles an hour there for about 5 or 6 miles. 68, 183, 156, 129, 152, 218, Highway 9. All clear. Your weather tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 46, west winds up to 15 miles an hour, gusting at times up to 20 miles an hour. Tomorrow sunny with a high near 62, northeast winds 8 miles an hour, southwest in the morning. Clear skies tomorrow. Tomorrow night, rather. A low near 44 tomorrow night. And sunny on Tuesday with a high near 63. Looks like a partly chance of rain on Wednesday, 40% chance. Your boaters forecast for tonight, northwest winds on the Monterey Bay 10 to 20 knots, becoming northeast 10 knots after midnight, wind waves 2 feet or less. West swell 3 feet at 15 seconds. Slight chance of rain on the bay after midnight. We got just under an hour left of the weekend sale. If you need to get that last minute BTT Healthy Start Pack, Glucogel, or other health product, we're here for you. It's 5:06, time for hour 2 of the Veterans Take Charge radio show right here on KSCO.
Proud and steadfast, welcome back to the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We got some phone calls online, and I really want to get to them so that we can start talking about Veterans Day with Paul and with Carrie. So, Thomas, I am so glad that you called, Thomas. Yes, I am glad that you called. Welcome back to the show, man.
You are glad that I'm called. Why are you glad that I'm called?
Because the last interactions we had were not exactly the most jovial.
Yeah, well, you know, this is not a jovial subject. Sometimes one of the things that irritates me is that at one moment you're talking all serious about this military and defending our country, and the next moment they're laughing like it's all a big joke. And I wonder why that is. As young men, I wonder why that's going on in your minds.
Well, that's something that we can talk about offline. While we're here, though, I know that you have a lot of things that you have wanted to talk about with Chelsea Manning, and now the topic is Bo Bergdahl.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of things I want to talk about. One is, why aren't you talking about the biggest criminal of the wars and demanding his trial and more than likely execution? Why don't you talk about that? If you're talking about a criminal, Bergdahl, who's maybe considered a criminal, and you're thinking he got off too light a sentence, well, what about the biggest criminal of all the wars that you both fought in? Why isn't he in court and then executed?
Who is that?
Why don't you guys push for that? How about George W. Bush? How about George W. Bush, the man who lied us into Iraq and who attacked Afghanistan because supposedly Osama bin Laden there, when most of the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. And then, on top of that, I've heard you say a number of times that you went to the war for 9/11, Dave. I believe you said that. Well, we don't have the truth on 9/11. We don't have the truth on 9/11. 9/11 didn't happen the way they put it in that book. There is absolutely no way that it did. And if you believe that, you're just misinformed, and you're brainwashed by the military that you say you love.
I think the truth is being pieced together still. And I believe that we were misled. I definitely believe that we were misled into the global war on terror.
Yeah, well, the truth has been pieced together a long time ago, but they've just worked real hard to cover it up. What was that report in England where it proved that Tony Blair and W. Bush were lying about the war, and then they covered that report up? There was a name for it. The truth has been out there. It's just that we have people in government office who are damn good at covering up the truth. And we know the truth. We know that we shouldn't have invaded Iraq. We know that we shouldn't have invaded Afghanistan because most of the hijackers came from Saudi Arabia that were buddy-buddy with Saudi Arabia. You guys are victims. I'm just so sad. And yes, I'm angry. You're talking about poor Bergdahl. What about Bush? When are we going to hang his ass? Sorry for that language.
Well, I don't disagree with you, to be honest, Thomas. I think that...
Quit praising this military that's sick and fighting wars that we shouldn't be in, and start calling for Bush to be hung, tried and hung. You guys have a fake show, and I'm sorry I'm angry, and I'm going to go because I'm too damn angry to talk. This is not a funny subject.
I guess it's a discussion he didn't want to have. So there's a lot of good information out there on YouTube about pieces of the puzzle. And
many sources, not just YouTube.
It's the job of the American people to dig for information, all of us. I mean, if we want our Constitution to stay intact, we definitely have to be hyper vigilant on the matter. And we were told that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and yet those weapons were never found. And I think that people should be held accountable. I don't think that even the president should be able to under oath lie and get away with it, because if you, the common man, get a felony for committing perjury in the courtroom, then everyone under the law should face the same amount of punishment, right? We are a nation of laws. So why do our power elite get to lie under oath or plead the fifth when they're in a congressional inquiry, right?
They most certainly should not.
They should not. They should not. And Thomas is right to be angry. The truth is, I am angry too, because I saw some of my battle buddies killed over there. Good, young, patriotic men. I believed that the official 9/11 Commission report. I believed all of that. And the truth is, all you got to do to know that there was some dirt done is look at who was on the 9/11 Commission. Suspects. Bunch of suspect people, I'm not... Here's the thing that Thomas doesn't realize is we're not doing this show to create propaganda. We're doing this show to support our fellow veterans, those who serve, those who risk their lives, those who put their lives in harm's way, those who face rocket-propelled grenade fire like me, all right? Those who are on a Navy ship sailing all over the world instead of being with their family. I mean, that's who Veterans Take Charge is here to support. We're here to support our people. And I can tell you right now, if this country ever came under direct attack, you better believe I would strap the body armor on, lock and load, and be ready to rock and roll, full battle rattle. Right? I'll always be a Ranger until the day that I die. Like, you can take the Ranger out of the regiment, but you can't take the regiment out of the Ranger. That's all there is to it. So, Thomas, when you get pissed off at us, your anger is directed in the wrong direction, and ultimately it's dividing. It's dividing us, and we need to be united if we're ever going to get the real war criminals who are responsible for this. And I know that there's still men in service who know that there's some BS taking place. They know that there's some garbage taking place in this country. I mean, but they serve, right? That's what we do. We're dedicated. We want to defend our country. We want to defend our wives and our kids and our families and our co-host on the radio show. You know, we want to defend our medics. I don't know any better. I don't know any better way to do it than to be here on the show. And I got to tell you, like, I've dealt with failures at the VA that you would not believe. And after coming out of the Spec Ops and doing some of the awesome missions that I got to do, I cannot believe the difficulty I've had getting my disability that I am entitled to, that I fought and almost died to get. I mean, I've been hospitalized like 14 times, and the VA just keeps denying. And I don't know how they can deny 1,500 pages of evidence, but that's what has been happening to me for 12 years, and that's really what's led to this show. But this show is designed to create unity. So calling and being angry with us, you're more than welcome to do it. You know, every now and then we need a heated caller to create some excitement here. And
it's thought-provoking. It's very thought-provoking. You know, Thomas talking about being misled and fighting for lies and wars and whatnot, but that's one of the reasons why I'm glad he calls, because he points that stuff out. And that's thought-provoking for anybody else out there who's listening to that, might think, wow, I'm going to go look into that. I'm going to go check that out.
But on our Facebook page, dude, he said some abrasive stuff to your to your freaking mom.
Yeah,
that's disrespectful.
I know.
I'm sorry, man. That's fighting words. Like, don't talk to Dave's mom like that. You know, I've known her since I was a kid. I'll duke it out with you. All right? If you're going to talk to my co-host mom like that, let's go ahead and handle it like men then.
Just so you know, Mama, I love you very much, and I would beat the stuff out of somebody for you. Hey,
moving on.
Let's talk about decompression, because once again, my
hey, stop laughing. Stop laughing. This ain't a freaking joke. You guys can't be happy when all this drama's going down?
Carrie. Paul. What do you guys do to decompress?
Drink kombucha.
You didn't happen to bring any with you, did you?
I would say we breathe.
Take some deep breaths.
Talk to us about that, because
Thomas, tune in, man. Turn your volume up. You got to hear this part.
To my knowledge, in the next 15 minutes, we are going to have a breathing coach calling in. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Freaking standing.
Michael Brian Baker.
I'm going to let you guys start talking, because I need to take a breath.
You want to try a cool one?
Yes.
Just like that. It's funny how your body will naturally go to what Michael teaches, right? Like our bodies talk to us. If you just start breathing, your body will kind of guide you through a breath pattern.
Primal.
Do you know who Wim Hof is?
Negative.
So this guy like goes into sub-zero temperatures in shorts. He climbed Everest with boots and like PT shorts on. Went to the top, sit around.
He was on that Stan Lee show.
He's been on a million shows now, but he teaches breath patterns, right? And you can put yourself into it. We do the same thing. A list of veterans, you know, you can put yourself in like a 3-3, 3-4. Just make up whatever you want, and then just start going after it. In your nose, out your mouth, but put a rhythm to it and keep the rhythm, and just watch what happens. It's pretty interesting.
I would imagine patterns, the harmony, the reverberations, the vibrations, all get everything in sync. That's one of the things we were talking about with Operation Surf and being in the water and resetting our circadian rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about breathing? What is it about the oxygen that helps us out so much?
I'd say it's probably more of the conscious breath, because you're always breathing.
The active.
But are you like intentionally breathing? And that's the difference.
It's the breathing pattern, like Greg Amundsen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 4-second inhale, a 4-second exhale.
4-4, yeah.
And then you got to do that multiple times.
It's the same thing as a monk's practice, and able to do really wild stuff like drink battery acid and not have an effect.
Wait, what?
I've seen some wild stuff, man, on breath.
What about the guys that impale themselves and they don't bleed?
That too.
Are you talking about David Blaine? Because I think I've seen that show.
No, it's a religion. They do, yeah, it's some kind of not hypnosis, but meditation that they can do where they can literally, like, they shove these big nails through their abdomen. Maybe they know exactly where to stab it, so they're not hitting anything vital. But either way, they just poke these things straight all the way through their body, and they're just like, woo, yeah, you know. Just take it. Impalement.
I had a really weird experience when that home invasion happened and went into a breath pattern, because that's my thing, you know, and didn't ever get into this pattern before. But when I finally had to stand up and survey, like, check out the area, and I'm like, all right, I got to check this leg, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's pretty bad.
So you were stabbed in the leg, right?
Yeah, cut my top 3 thigh muscles in half.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
So like half of the thigh was hanging over the knee, but there was no blood. Right, even when the EMT showed up, like, why are you not bleeding? And I was in this crazy pattern, and then talking to everybody and what I needed.
You know, that's interesting because, like, as a medic, we learn about breath patterns and like end of life type stuff, agonal respirations, or like cardiac rhythms, things that can't sustain, breath patterns, things that are super fast and super shallow, things that can't sustain. But it sounds like your body, you subconsciously went into a pattern of sustainability.
And it's something that I practiced daily at that point. So it was a natural
muscle memory.
Yeah, right. There was no. It's just like realizing you're on this ride of life, and then knowing when the challenge shows up, whether you're going to lean in or lean out. It's like,
How long did it take you to learn how to do that before the stabbing incident took place?
I'd been practicing with breath for probably 2 years at that point, but every day solid for maybe 8 or 9 months. It was like was having like really big results, even with the other guys that would come to the morning routine and work out. We get into patterns, and they always had really interesting responses.
So now with these breath patterns, is this something that is incorporated? I would imagine the answer is yes. Something that's incorporated with the Community Health Project?
Yeah.
You have a big smile on your face.
It's exciting, yeah. Yeah, we have Michael Brian Baker coming in for that event on the 11th, and then he'll be here a little before and then also the weekend after, too, teaching breath work. So it's really exciting, yeah.
All vets go for free to anything that he does from this point forward. So he came to Greg Almondson's place last year when we shot that promo video, and he did the breath work there. That's where our presentation video comes from.
You know, Greg's name popped up when we were discussing this broadcast. Greg's name popped up because breathing work, breathing exercises, things that they're all very synonymous.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you're doing, if you're conscious with your breath, everything becomes easier.
Yeah, I hear
like
that.
Carrie's been to Michael's breath work, so have I. And like the experience that you can have is similar to like a shamanic plant medicine. You know, it will blast you off or in, however you want to look at it.
Wow.
And if you're willing to hang on for the ride, then you really get to see what you are.
I have had several people that I really respect talk about these deep breathing
Hello?
techniques.
Hello.
Talking about the deep breathing I don't know where he popped in from. I didn't click on him. Hey, I think that's Mike in Santa Cruz. Mike, we're gonna take your call right after the break. Okay, hang in there for 1 minute.
Mike wants to be heard.
I was at a Pharmacist Ben seminar, and he had the whole audience do some deep breathing, and I had the weirdest sensation. About 3 or 4 breaths into it, I felt this like massive release in the top of my brain.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
And it was a hormone release or a chemical release, and it was literally 4-second inhale, 4-second exhale, really focused on what you're doing. And right around the 4th rotation through that, my brain just felt like it just released a bunch of tension. And I was just like, wow, there's really something to this, you know?
Holistic approach, the holistic life, the holistic platforms.
It's the starting point for all human healing. You know, we don't need drugs or surgery should definitely be the last resort in almost any case. We should start with like turning the body's own healing systems on.
You know what we do need?
Yes.
Education and training. Bam.
That's what we're leading.
We're going to take a short commercial break. This is Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. Stand by. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Want to help fight hunger this holiday season? It's as easy as going to the grocery store. Safeway Stores Feed the Need campaign is going on now through December 27th.
So shop at any Santa Cruz County Safeway, make a $10 donation at the register, and Safeway will donate an entire bag of food to Second Harvest Food Bank, Santa Cruz County.
Each $10 provides 40 healthy meals to people in need right here in our community.
So, become a hunger hero and fight hunger with us. Visit thefoodbank.org.
MeTV is your TV home for memorable entertainment television.
All those in favor of me, say aye. Aye.
From classic comedy,
A whole blooming Brady bunch. Happy days.
Cheers.
to retro sci-fi,
Lost in space? Batman.
and groundbreaking dramas,
Harry Mason. The Twilight Zone.
you'll love MeTV's variety. Here's where you can watch MeTV.
MeTV is only on KYMB Channel 27.1 and Comcast Cable Channel 19.
It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication.
Dr. Charles Lester, former head of the California Coastal Commission, returns to the Off the Lip radio show Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on KSCO, or watch live on Facebook with Santa Cruz Waves.
Dream of
Proud Steadfast, welcome back to the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We got Mike in Santa Cruz on the line. We're going to get to him because we also have another phone call coming up in the next 5 minutes. So, Mike, welcome to the show.
Well, yes, sir. How are you today?
Peachy. How are you, Mike?
Me too, creamy. And you know what? I think you guys, I call this the Veteran Take Charge Giggle Show. You guys are so young, you know, and I love you all, you know, but you don't know Jack Diddley but Jack Squat. You know?
We may have heard that once or twice.
You will learn through the years. Okay?
Oh, that's good to look forward
we
to.
old guys, you know, we know a lot of stuff. You know, like Big Gun Gordon. You got no idea what he went through. You know, you had no idea what I went through. And you know, we're Vietnam guys, you know, and you know, I don't even know how to say it. But God bless you. Oh, and I hope you get through it. You know, it just live your life as if you weren't in the military is a better way to do it. Try to concentrate on your future and get things done. That's what you want to do.
If only you knew what goes on behind the scenes, man.
Okay, well, tell me about it then.
Well, I think that's a conversation that's going to have to be offline because we're doing a whole heck of a lot that is going to take a lot more than the next 30 minutes to discuss. But I wear a lot of hats.
God
Justin
bless
wears a
you.
lot of hats. Paul's doing a lot of great things in the community.
Hey, well, you guys got my number? Because I just called in. Call me anytime. My name is Mike.
It's good to meet you, Mike.
We'll save the number.
Got it. Adios.
Proud Steadfast. All right.
You know, I tend to get pissed off. Like, that's my primary emotion is angry and violent.
No.
That's my primary emotion.
Dude, I remember you beating the crap out of somebody on the soccer field.
I remember beating the crap out of you one time, actually.
Maybe more than once.
Which is funny because I'm skinny. No, but you're a medic, so you wouldn't fight back. And it was like, dude, come on, man. Just punch me. Please, I need it. It's therapeutic to get hit sometimes.
damn
Men
sure
need
did
that.
need it.
Men need a good sock to the jaw every now and then. It's like the chin check, you know? My point was, though, Mike, you know, he called it the giggle show. Thomas made a comment about the giggle, the laughing and stuff. And it's, you
This
know,
is not a jovial subject.
I typically am absolutely confrontational right off the bat. You know, I was in an infantry unit, and that's how the infantry deals with just about everything, is let's just blow it up.
That's how Justin Baker has dealt with everything.
Let's just blow it up. And that doesn't seem to always get the best reaction out of people. And as, you know, in my old age, I know Mike said we're really young, but I'm about to be 36. I'm getting there, right? I'm about a quarter of the way through my life. And I've got to learn to laugh more. And this show really does do that for me. You know, we have a lot of laughs here. And I think our guests typically come in, we're in a good mood, they feel the vibe of the show, and we can all laugh together. And that's absolutely healing, you know? So Thomas got pissed because we joke around a lot and stuff, but I don't know how, there's two modes that I go in. I go in, well, joke about it or attack it directly. And the attack it directly model doesn't always work depending on the situation.
But it is pretty damn effective when it is the right situation.
It can be, you know, rolling with fear and violence. Yeah, that does work in many cases. But exactly it also turns people off, and so I can't always be like that. I need to.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about picking and choosing your battles, knowing how to communicate properly, how to navigate the situation, navigate the problem, and really extract the right solution strategies in the avenues of approach.
Yeah, I definitely respect Mike, the Vietnam era guys, man. Tough bunch of dudes. Definitely a tough battle they fought, like nasty warfare. So I got to give a lot of respect to that generation because that was a nasty, nasty war, and I'm grateful that ours wasn't that bad. You know.
That's for darn sure. They had a significant disservice done to them when they returned home.
Absolutely. You know, and that's part of why we're doing what we're doing too, is because we don't want that to happen to our generation. And in a sense, there's no excuse for the failures at the VA that we have on the scale that we have it at today. They've had tens of billions of dollars to spend to build the infrastructure needed and hire the people needed to create the care that we deserve. And so that's really, you know, one of the main things I'm fighting for.
Speaking of disservice, I feel like we've been doing you guys a disservice because you haven't said very much at all. So please tell us about what's going on this coming Saturday.
Take the reins.
Just turn my mic off, man.
Okay, you're out.
It's actually 11/11 on Veterans Day. We're doing the 3rd annual Community Healing Project. It's going to be hosted at Breath and Oneness at 708 Capitola Avenue. For anybody that hasn't been part of this the last 2 years, we partner up with local facilities and serve the community as veterans. So a lot of vets organizations are out with their hands out, and we are down with our heads forward and wanting to serve all our people. So we ask local practitioners to come in and serve for free in the modalities that we'll have there this year: acupuncture, Bowen work, aroma and sound therapy, herbalism. Huh? Bowen? Bowen. It's Bowen work is kind of like a release and acupressure points.
Okay.
In my layman's terms, can sum it up. If we had the practitioner here, you get 10 hours of information. We're doing meditation class, trauma release exercise, energy medicine, nutrition, conversations, Reiki, Thai massage, Ayurveda. And Michael Brian Baker from the Breath Center will be there from 5 to 6:30. This is the guy that will teach you how to breathe, blast you off, kind of like a shamanic experience. Our agenda that day, we're starting at 1, so we get a really long day this year. So we're starting at 1 and ending at 9. We have opening ceremony at 1, and then a drum circle with Jim Greiner, which is a phenomenal percussionist, world-renowned percussionist. He teaches people at Google and Facebook how to build unity amongst rhythms.
He's a vet too.
Yeah, he is a vet. Then at 2 o'clock, we're doing Qigong. Sean Smolinski is going to teach his Qigong class. At 3, Miss Bailey of the studio is going to teach yoga. At 4, we're doing a sound bath with Kim. And then Michael starts his class at 5, the breath work. And then Paul Damon and the Healers will finish up the night and close out in live music from 7:30 to around 8:30 or 9.
I know that guy.
Me too. I heard he's a Grammy nominee.
He's all right. On Sundays. Okay, you want to tell them like what other stuff Michael's doing in town?
Would you introduce yourself too, and tell us a little bit about your business?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Carrie, and my mom and I actually opened up a wellness center in Capitola. It's right next to Gales, the next shopping center next to Gales. And we just opened a couple months ago, and our whole intention is just to bring a lot of service to the community, a lot of lots of different modalities that help us all just come together and do our good work, like internally and also together as a community, and come together in a space of love and working through everything that we need to be working through in a way that is holistic and does really support us and help us through everything that we're coming at. So we have a big movement room that holds about 40 people, and we can have big community gatherings there. And then we also have a smaller carpeted room where we do meditation and the sound bath every Tuesday and all sorts of other really cool things. And so it's just a really beautiful space.
What's a sound bath?
Well, this particular one, Kim Malloy, she does crystal bowls. And so you just lay down and she does the crystal, like all these different tones.
The singing bowls?
Singing bowls.
Yeah,
she has giant ones.
Whoa.
And those things resonate through the room and through you.
It's so interesting because I've heard about like sensory deprivation as therapy and like float chambers and things like that where everything, like all of your senses, well, not all of them obviously, but like specifically hearing and sight are restricted. And this sounds the exact opposite where you're being inundated with vibrations of sound and whatnot. It's such an interesting realization that there's like exact opposite ends of the spectrum, but they
dualistic plane.
They both provide dualistic plane. I like that.
It has to be both. We have a partner up in Felton that has a flotation tank up there as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
And they'll do work, trade, and stuff like that with veterans.
Is there any kind of a different outcome when you're doing like a float tank or sensory deprivation as opposed to doing a noise bath? Like, could they be used for the same thing, even though they're polar opposites?
People could have the same effects on them, I'm sure. You know, like it's kind of like if you had 31 flavors of ice cream, everybody's going to like one a little better, and that's what their body needs in that moment. And that's the thing to really understand. Like, even being a practitioner, it's like when I go to put my hands on someone, the only thing that I'm really trying to do and stay focused on is my breath and surrender that I don't know anything. And you just become a vessel through the energy that's us.
Interesting.
So essentially you heal yourself.
So what is it about our internal energy or the frequencies that our bodies like functioning on? Modern science isn't really like doing a lot of research into this, and it's healing that's thousands of years old. It's been used forever, right? And but yet we don't use it in our society. And as a matter of fact, what's interesting is the medical system we have is only about 125 years old, and it's really created its own monopoly to keep itself in business, and it works in unison with pharmaceutical giants. And everything else now is alternative healing, when in reality, I think the alternative should be drugs and surgery.
Correct.
And everything else should be mainstream healing.
Holistic practices is the OG.
Yeah.
The OG, yes.
You know,
Yes.
What's interesting too is a lot of it is, we're talking about like medical doctors, in my opinion, are more business people at this point than they are healers, because they're always pushing a drug or a surgery or, something along those lines. And there's not typically a lot of healing that takes place. And I've experienced that in my own sickness from my service-connected disabilities. When I ask my doctors, it's been 12 years, at what point am I going to be healed? It's like crickets in the background. They're like, well, that's a crazy question. No one's ever asked that. That's revolutionary. You're never going to heal. You just need to manage it for the rest of your life until it gets you. And I'm like,
it's the worst thing that they could ever lie to anybody about.
And then they know patient has attitude problems, expects to heal. Like, what's wrong with obviously delusion. He's obviously delusional.
More meds. More meds.
Yeah. I leave with a bigger. I've literally left the VA hospital with a paper shopping bag full of drugs, and different medical supplies for my illness. And it's just
with
like
no disability check, and they look at you and tell you, "Don't be a drug dealer now."
As little as possible. Yeah, they're like, street drugs are bad, but all these drugs we're overprescribing her.
And it's a wonder why we have an opioid crisis, an over-medication crisis, and substance abuse and addiction that leads to homelessness, and eventually people just want to kill themselves because their damn problems are worse than the treatment that they're receiving.
I find it interesting that we're in the middle of a drug war that's basically been going on since I was born, right? 1981. I think the drug war started in like 80 or 81 under Reagan. And they're literally like prescribing just probably 1 billion pills a year in this country, and no one's getting any better. And yet we have a drug war going on, and yet they're prescribing billions of drugs. I mean, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of different pharmaceuticals that are sold every year in this country.
You mentioned the 9/11 Commission earlier, and who is on the 9/11 Commission are the suspects.
Yeah.
And now we've got this situation where we're exacerbating the problem. We're enabling dysfunction by putting the perpetrators, essentially, in charge of fixing.
And it's not just in the medical system. It's in the food system. You know, the board of directors of Monsanto go back and forth between holding political office in Washington, D.C. They go there, they push legislation that they had been told to push when they were sitting on the board of Monsanto 2 years prior. Then they go sit in a congressional seat for 2 years. They push legislation to get Monsanto's evil empire built. And then they go back to Monsanto with a six-figure pay increase.
This is exactly what Thomas Milsberg is talking about.
And that's what Thomas doesn't get, man, is I'm all over all of this stuff every day. It's how I spend all my time is digging.
Michael's trying to call in.
Oh, good. 831-479-1080 is the number. And Justin's going to go and figure out what to do with that. Michael Baker. He is a breath coach. He's coming here to participate and help with the community healing project that's going to be happening on Saturday, November 11th. I got
11/11.
Yeah, I got freaking 9/11 commission in the back of my mind. 11/11, November 11th, Saturday at 1 p.m. Starting at 1 p.m. at
Breath and Wellness.
Breath and Wellness.
Oneness.
Breath and Oneness.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, sorry. I'm tripping over all my words. You say we're not ready? Why are we not ready?
No, he needs to call back and Strigo will answer.
Okay, Roger got it.
So how long have you guys owned the business, and what is the name of it?
We just opened 2 months ago. It's Breath and Oneness.
Breath and Oneness.
Yeah,
and it's by Gail's Bakery in Capitola.
It is, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love this community. You know, I really feel like this show is destined to be started here above all other places because the veteran community is becoming more and more tight-knit all the time. Guys like Paul are really, like, pulling in other veterans groups to work with, and they're getting bigger projects done because of it. You know, we're uniting. And we just happen to be in one of the most holistic communities probably on earth.
Yeah.
You know, we're all hippy-dippy.
You know, you bring up a pretty
awesome.
interesting point. Like, this was meant to be here, you know, and you open a facility with a specific intention in mind. Paul, you are working on so much more than just a single event. You and I, Justin, we have got so much stuff going on. We're not doing something to get to a destination. This is the mission. The mission is to collaborate and create unity. The mission is to provide healing and modalities and therapy. The mission is to reduce that suicide rate from whatever it is down to 0 a day. You know, I very passionately feel strong that we are on mission. We're not on a destination track. We're on a mission of accomplishment. We're on a mission of healing. We're on a mission of helping.
I think that the greatest resource behind all of it too is the people resource, the human resource.
Dude,
you know,
straight
it's
up.
the network that
calling you?
we have and that we're building.
831-479-1080 is the number to call the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We're getting ready to go to our last commercial break, and when we get back, hopefully we'll have Mike Baker on, and we'll talk about some more breathing stuff and what's getting ready to go down. November 11th, Veterans Day.
Veterans Day. Should be easy for you.
How the hell am I forgetting that crap? We'll be right back.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years, and what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. High blood pressure or hypertension represents the body's attempts to get us out of a jam. To the body, emergencies represent the need to get away from a situation by moving the body, i.e. running, which requires the rerouting of blood and its associated oxygen and nutrients from the extremities to the muscles by closing down the circulatory system at the extremities, creating the phenomena called hypertension. The shunting and redirecting of blood flow is a function that is energized by the sympathetic nervous system that also activates the biology that causes constipation and other digestive issues, skin and immune diseases, infertility, anxiety, insomnia, rapid pulse, and blood clotting, all associated with what has been called the Fight or flight, one of the most significant body emergencies is suffocation, and nothing will activate the fight or flight response faster than oxygen deprivation. If you're one of the nearly 100 million Americans dealing with hypertension, you can flood your body with oxygen by practicing deep, slow breathing and quickly enjoy the powerful blood pressure lowering effects of respiration in just a couple of minutes. Get a blood pressure cuff and take a baseline reading. Then spend 120 seconds or so slowly inhaling and exhaling deeply into the belly. Then do another reading. You'll notice an immediate drop in blood pressure and over time, an equally significant reduction in all the other symptoms of an activated stress nervous system. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to KSCOhealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at KSCOhealth.com. That's KSCOhealth.com. I'm the pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to KSCOhealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at KSCOhealth.com. That's KSCOhealth.com.
Am I going? Welcome back to the Veterans Take Charge radio show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we're here. Paul and I were welcoming Michael Brian Baker on to the show with us right now. We're going to do some talking about this breath work we're doing next Saturday, and also a little bit before we're doing a free lecture on Friday, and then this workshop on Saturday as part of the Community Healing Project at Breath and Oneness. And then he's also doing a teacher training the following weekend. I believe all of these are free to veterans, yes? At least Friday and Saturday.
Absolutely.
Hey, Michael, how's it going?
Sounds like there's a party going on over there. I'm wondering if I should do with you guys.
Yeah, there's some
Lots of laughs.
dancing and yeah. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing great. We just finished a training out here this weekend and kind of got the front room full of people hugging on each other and exchanging phone numbers and kind of bonding, and it's been really good, you know, heading into the winter months here and getting ready for the holidays, and just super excited to come up to Santa Cruz. I've had a long-term relationship with the area, and just excited to kind of get back up there and have the opportunity to connect with Paul and the group and share a little bit up there again.
Awesome. We have only a little bit of an amount of time. I'd love to hear about what you're going to bring on. We're talking specifically about Veterans Day, the 11/11 event, Community Healing Project that you're bringing the workshop at 5. And maybe you could just let us know what you'll be bringing, what it's about, just share some about what you do with us.
Sure. I, first of all, have been... Let's just say that I'm not a stranger to the commitment that it takes, either men and women, to commit to the government and our forces locally or abroad, and the amount of effort and sacrifice that takes. And understanding that, and with the utmost respect and honor for that, also with the awareness that sometimes there's a sacrifice or a compromise that comes along with that, that I think that the civilian set does not understand. And I think that the only way that I really understand it on a broad level is because I was lucky enough to be involved in some of the recovery programs locally to Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco that were working with a lot of PTSD, and having exposure to people who had been through different forms of PTSD and understanding that a lot of military has kind of those type of issues. I was searching for what would be an active way that we could create something that was simple, easy to access, wasn't that real far out kind of Eastern culture, non-American white bread practice that we could collect and practice as a group, kind of like as like kind of a laser focused meditation, and came across this pattern breath. And believe it or not, like if I were to tell you and the rest of the men and women out there that there is a secret, or there are secret, unknown, or lesser known respiratory patterns which unlock and break through emotional, physical, mental, and let's just call it spiritual malady or disconnect, I would be understating what we actually have to share, because this particular pattern, it's like what we're bringing is actually extremely unique, because the pattern itself unlocks all sorts of facets in the body that are compromised during our services. And so we are bringing kind of a shamanic, let's call it an unwinding. It takes an hour and a half to do it. Actually only takes 7 to 15 minutes to get in, but our collection during the Holistic Veterans event on Veterans Day, we're going to have 90 minutes to sit. We'll talk about it a little bit, and then we'll share the experience, and then we'll have an integration afterwards. And I've always kind of wanted to tool around with the mysticism, and done a lot of travel abroad and kind of tested out these far-out mystic yogis and seers and reishis or whatever, and then brought back to my peers stuff that actually made sense and that wasn't too far out. And we've been doing this about 10, 12 years, and we work with thousands of people every year, and my passion is to be working with vets. So for us, vets are always free. Everything that we do, that we offer, and regardless of if that's the information right through the training, that's a 2-day training a week later, we want everybody who feels a shift or does anything with this work to be available to access it.
That's freaking awesome. Hey, sir, this is Dave Ramos. I'm one of the show hosts for the Veterans Take Charge radio show. Thank you very much for being a part of the show, and also for making your way out here to Santa Cruz when you do get here to participate with Paul and Carrie and the Community Healing Project and what's going on November 11th.
My honor, Dave.
Well, it's very welcomed. It's very welcome. Thank you. When it comes to breathing patterns and whatnot, I've got all kinds of different questions, because the physiology of our anatomy, how it all works, and oxygen consumption. With that, an idea just now sparked in my mind. We have been involved with an organization out of Arizona that does hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Do you think, with your experience, knowledge, and background, that coupling breathing patterns while in hyperbaric oxygen therapy can do a tremendous amount more than what hyperbaric oxygen therapy is already doing in terms of wound management, rehabilitation, reconnecting neurons in the brain, and essentially providing a tremendous platform for recovery?
And so that question really excites me. I would say that those questions are the very function and foundation of what I'm interested in, and what we're interested in finding and testing. Should we find the proper beneficiary to allow us to work with people in that way, and then to track that and to document that? I do know that the container, the human body, can only take so much, and that particular hyperbaric chamber practice and or the exposure does so much for repairing of the body.
Right.
You have to remember that when we're working with the breath as well, and I would highly recommend to your listeners that they go to thebreathcenter.com and look at the video testimonials. Under media, we've got a couple of veterans that are talking about maybe, some of the after effects of what it meant to make like biological weapons and have, physical trauma that they've healed through the breath. But that when you're working with this particular breath or pattern, right, there is exactly like you said, there's a lot going on with the left and right hemisphere of the brain, and what goes on with the oxygenation of the blood, and also the igniting of the electrical system in the body that can be measured in the West by the EKG. The question would be, which condition is our participant or our partner coming in? What level are they at in their healing or understanding of this, so that we are not shocking the system or overworking two different modalities that are equally powerful in their own right?
Yes.
Yes.
That definitely makes sense. I mean, it's a case-by-case basis, right?
Yeah, and it's one of those things, too, where you understand just as well as I do that there are different levels of trauma and there's different levels of healing, right? So when somebody comes in, if you have something super powerful to share with them and they are in a more, let's say, prone state to, like, regression or experiencing something that they went through that was, it's only a week old, you may not go so hot and heavy on them. It may be more about being gentle and holding space as they are processing. Because let's face it, like, what these men and women are facing is not normal day-to-day stuff. This is why these people are kind of superheroes. But they go through and they get unwound, they get beaten, they go through all these things, and then they come back into kind of the civilian environment, and it's like, how are they going to reintegrate? Right. How are they going to make it fit? And at what level have they been injured, and how can we find a contrast to that compromise to begin evening the playing field, so that it's like, okay, I understand that I experienced all of this, and it's great cognitively to hear all of these doctors and other vets being very, very supportive. Now I need a practice so that I can kinesthetically feel that my body is changing, so that I can feel a rebalancing in between the split of what I'm going to call the left and right hemisphere. Because the right hemisphere is all about creativity and healing and being involved and being in creation or inspiration, being inspired again in life. And then the left brain is all about our facts, formula, calculation, and the things that we probably were exposed to when we went through boot camp or when we were out in service. So we have to reintegrate the right hemisphere of the brain back in a way that's comfortable, that doesn't feel, like I said, so far out or foreign that we would reject it before we even experienced what was being offered.
So this whole thing just sparked a train of thought in my mind, and it's bringing up a question. So if breathing is like the foundation of what we do and how we do it, and if we use our breathing properly, if we were trained and educated on how to breathe, we can achieve and rehabilitate so much. So if breathing is the foundation, what are some of the more important pillars to bring and couple with that breathing so that we can fully rehabilitate? I would imagine like nutrition and
for sure. I mean, the first thing is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Specifically, earlier we were talking about sensory deprivation in contrast to noise baths and sensory overload or overstimulation,
And we all know that there's the work internally, okay, which is where most of us are developing the courage now to explore in a different way, right? In the West, unlike the Asian countries, we are better at feeling, regardless of if we're female or male. We are better at feeling and more open to feeling than they are in that culture. In that culture, you don't feel your emotions, you don't express your emotions. It's not acceptable in public. It's not acceptable in private.
Sounds familiar.
You kind of like for lack of a better term, sorry, ladies, you kind of like man up or woman up and you swallow it, right? And you go on with your day and you produce the best that you can, right? In the work that you're talking about in a hyperbaric chamber, it is absolutely an internal job, because when you talk about sensory deprivation, is it really deprivation? No, we're not being deprived. We're actually making the choice to go into an environment where there is, instead of any type of overstimulation, a lack of stimulation, so that we can turn inward and begin to explore what's going on internally, whether we actually like it or not, right? Because we're not going to be distracted when we're in a chamber. We're actually going to be facing, depending on the amount of time that we're exposed to that lack of outside sensation, what's going on internally, and then we have to kind of face that. Right, and very much so. I also want to say that this practice that Paul is bringing to this veterans event over at Breath and Oneness kind of does create that same internal experience. However, I will say that we are using different elements of, like you guys talked about, like sound. I mean, we're not banging gongs or like hitting bowls or anything like that, but we are trying to create a calm atmosphere with the use of sound and stuff like that to make it more pleasant for that exploration.
I really look forward to meeting you on Saturday the 11th, Veterans Day. And I'm super grateful that you were on the show with us today. I wish we had a little bit more time. We're almost out of time for the day. Michael, can you tell our listeners where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you guys can come and check us out at thebreathcenter.com. It's TheBreathCenter.com. And again, look through our media and check out some of those video testimonials. I think that you'll find them pretty interesting.
Awesome. Thank you for your time today, sir. I will meet you on Saturday, Veterans Day.
See you all up there. Looking very, very forward to it. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Michael.
All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to make a brief announcement from a veteran caller today who called into the show. Free medical marijuana for veterans here in Santa Cruz the first Monday of every month at 5:30 p.m. at the Grange Hall on 17th Avenue. They're going to give you 1 to 5 ounces of medicinal marijuana to treat your ailments. And it says at the bottom, it's good stuff too. So, if you got a medical marijuana card and you need to take advantage, the first Monday of every month at the Grange Hall on 17th Avenue at 5:30 p.m. Check it out. This is Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We're going to leave you with some beats from Paul Damon, 2-time Grammy nominee.
He's playing at 7:30 next
Lay
Saturday.
your tears upon my shoulders. Will you let your weight be known? Will you call your fears your owners? Will you forever stand alone?
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
History. 26 dead, 20 wounded in the town of Sutherland Springs. This evening, within view of that church, a vigil has been held. About 100 people turned out in that small town, including Governor Greg Abbott. They lit candles and said prayers. This morning, a man in black entered the First Baptist Church with an assault rifle. He fired round after round, says the Department of Public Safety's Freeman Martin.
As he exited the church, a local resident grabbed his rifle and engaged that suspect. The suspect dropped his rifle, which was a Ruger AR assault-type rifle, and fled from the church.
The suspect, identified as Devin Patrick Kelly, went off the road as he was pursued by police. He was found dead. It's not clear if he killed himself. He had served in the Air Force going back to 2010, but was court-martialed and given a dishonorable discharge in 2014. CBS law enforcement consultant Ron Husko.
Why was he discharged if it was dishonorable? Was there something that happened in the military that should have been a clue to law enforcement that may have helped stop this or take this down a different path?
In Tokyo, where it's Monday morning, President Trump has spoken.
All of America is praying to God to help the wounded and the families of the victims. we will never, ever leave their side.
A rewrite of the tax policy set to get going tomorrow in the House Ways and Means Committee. Speaker Paul Ryan told Fox.
Instead of using a tax deduction to lower your tax rate, lower your tax liability, we're just going to make it easier for you to don't pay taxes in the first place. But this is a clear middle-class tax cut, no two ways about it, even for people in those high-tax states.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul said to be in pain with 5 broken ribs after he was confronted at home on Friday by a neighbor.
It's not clear from Kentucky State Police arrest records why 59-year-old Renee Boucher ran onto the Bowling Green, Kentucky property of Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, tackling the senator while he mowed his lawn. The two men are neighbors and doctors, Paul an ophthalmologist, Boucher an anesthesiologist. The FBI also involved in the investigation to see if this was a politically motivated attack. Will Clark for CBS News, Louisville.
5 days after a terror attack on a bike path killed 8 people, the race was on today in New York City. Shalane Flanagan won it. She's the first American woman to win the New York City Marathon in 40 years.
You know, it's been a tough week for New Yorkers and a tough week for our nation, and I thought of what a better gift than to make Americans smile today.
She wins the laurel wreath. This is CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Kix Brooks here. You know, Boot Barn is committed to serving our troops overseas. And to help support these efforts, they're having the Socks for Soldiers event. Boot Barn is going to collect donations in stores nationwide and partner with Operation Care and Comfort to send care packages to the troops overseas. The Boot Barn team cares deeply about our troops, and so do I. And we know you folks do too. So stop by Boot Barn between November 2nd and November 12th and help support our troops.
Regarding the Russian election meddling,
I'm Tom Foti. Congressional investigators still have more questions than answers about possible Russian links to the 2016 Trump campaign. Virginia's Mark Warner is senior Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee.
There are still a number of the principles, for example, Mr. Trump Jr., that we still need to see. We've talked to a lot of the folks who were in that so-called June 9th meeting,
at which Russians allegedly hinted at having dirt on the Hillary Clinton campaign.
The question was, did folks from the Trump campaign respond in kind? And those are questions we still got to get final answers to.
Senator Warner on Face the Nation. Tom Foti, CBS News, Washington.
It was a strange robbery in a Paris suburb. A group of 40 Chinese tourists had been set upon outside a hotel. Trouble in a parking lot. A group of 4 men grabbed 9 bags, some of which contained luxury gifts, and they were able to do that because they sprayed tear gas at those tourists. Dave Barrett, CBS News.
At our home, winter nights are complicated. Either I end up freezing,
or I'm sweating.
Hi, I'm Missy Tannen.
And I'm Scott Tannen, founders of Boll & Branch, the world's most comfortable sheets.
And now, we've created the world's first luxury flannel bedding, available for a limited time at bollandbranch.com. Try them risk-free for 30 nights.
Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Joan London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. It's a free service, and we've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad. There's a place for answers, A Place for Mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-379-1174. That's 1-800-379-1174.
It must be, it has to be, with that big sound it's gotta be KSCO.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
You're listening to KSCO, serving Santa Cruz, Pebble Beach, and Pinoche.
Good evening, you're listening to AM 1080 KSCO, Santa Cruz 609, a beautiful Sunday evening, November 5th, 2017. I'm Jason Struby. Let's get a look at your traffic conditions. Highway 101 at exit 307, traffic hazard reported about 20 minutes ago. Caller said it appeared to be a body in a flannel shirt and sweats in between lanes. Also, a collision 1 northbound at Marmonte reported at 5:34 p.m. No injuries there, thankfully. Traffic hazard, Highway 25 at Highway 198 interchange. Vehicle has hazard lights on. Definitely watch out for that. Highway 1 at Porter, unspecified traffic hazard reported at 6:01. Otherwise, your major roadways moving smoothly for now. Your weather tonight, partly cloudy, a low near 46, winds up to 20 miles per hour at times. Sunny tomorrow, a high near 62. Crisp and clear tomorrow night, a low near 44. Sunny on Tuesday, a high near 63. 40% chance of rain on Wednesday, 6:10. Time for Golden Age of Radio here on KSCO.
Drop it.
This is the city, Los Angeles, California. 2.5 million people live here. Every month, 5,000 more crowd in. Tourists spend over $1.1 billion a year in Southern California. It's a big business. On Alvera Street, you can buy the best Mexican handcrafts this side of Mexico City. Anything you're looking for, Los Angeles has it. If it's for sale, you can buy it. Some people don't bother bringing money. They do their shopping at the point of a gun. That's when I come in. I carry a badge. It was Tuesday, June 14th. It was clear in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Robbery Division. My partner's Bill Gannon. The boss is Captain Howe. My name's Friday. The Daily Occurrence Report is a measurement of the city. It's all there. burglaries, holdups, murders. As the city grows, the